Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? We're back here with episode number 4 of Marvel Yap. And of course, I am joined with the hostest with the mostest, not my dance. How are you doing today, Chief?
I'm doing great. God, I continually forget about being the hostest with the mostest. You got the ultimate cable? Sorry, what?
I did. I bought it yesterday. It finally appeared in my shop, and I was like, I gotta do my buddy, the homie, the freaking goat, Cable's Dumbs justice, and I gotta get the ultimate for him.
Cables told you to get the ultimate. Oh my gosh, Cables! I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, Cables.
It's so good though.
But fair enough, Tucker. This feels different, Tucker. It feels this Yap feels more reminiscent of our first Yap sesh. Why is that?
Because we're live on Twitch right now, recording the live studio audience.
Twitch.tv/Tucker, aka or Twitch.tv/NotMyDance. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
We are live and we are freaking booming. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's going to be probably a longer episode today. There's some good to talk about. There's some bad to talk about, but nonetheless, we're gonna have some fun.
What are we talking about? Why is today gonna be such a long session? Why is it gonna be such a long Yap sesh?
Because we're gonna be breaking down the new season. We're gonna be talking about the OTA, or quote unquote OTA, as I like to put it, and we're gonna be looking at some top move cards. We're gonna be listing 5 move cards each.
Okay. It feels like it's gonna be a lot of fun time. There's a lot of stuff to talk about the new season, though. There's a lot of stuff. What is it? So, because the video came out yesterday. And there was the amount of content, the amount of stuff that inside of there. It feels like there was, again, obviously more focused on the season, but there was a lot of stuff in terms of just brand new things that they're going to be putting into Marvel Snap.
Yeah, there's the brand new Activate cards. We have some crazy new, just even ongoing cards coming out. And I think it just kind of put into like perspective. We got like a brand new season with a bunch of new stuff just happening. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it reshapes the meta. I think that's truly like having new types of abilities is going to be interesting. It really promotes deck building and everything, which I love, where people are trying new things and we're not just net decking. Of course, there may be a little bit of net decking stuff, but I think with Activate, you're really going to have to learn it opposed to just be able to just plug and chug.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I'm excited about with the new season. Activate is going to make people relearn the way that they have to play those cards, and that's it. Like, that is the ability to have to relearn a brand new card, like a brand new archetype inside of this game that's been so established for a few years now, is gonna be something exciting. I'm excited for that. We have a lot of questions asked or answered about Activate, but in general, I mean, do you want to explain how this new keyword, again, it's gonna be similar to on reveal or ongoing, is gonna actually work here inside of Snap?
Yeah, so the way Activate works is it's a card you have to have on the board first before you can actually activate. So it has to flip over and reveal itself, and then the next turn you can press and hold down on the card to activate its ability. The way the ordering works for Activate is you can play a card before pressing down on the Activate, and that card would flip over first before the Activate happens. So order does matter when it comes to actually activating your cards. You can either do it at the beginning of the turn, the end of a turn, in between cards, whichever way you would like to order the way for your turn to go.
This is the way I was hoping it would work this way. It will take the same action as you just playing the card, but the card has to be already existing on the board beforehand, which is a very big distinction from what we had before, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Also, because they asked a bunch of questions, or they answered a bunch of questions about this. You can't, if you bounce a card or the card is like regenerated like that, you can't reactivate it. What is it? It is, and there's also gonna be some other new card or some older cards getting this new Activate wording. We only have 2 that are confirmed as of now, as well. But it's gonna be, I don't know, it's gonna be really interesting. And Activate abilities are free; they don't cost any extra energy. It is just basically akin to an on reveal, but it only happens after the card's already been out there, and you have to choose when that occurs.
Yeah, and I feel like something we were talking about earlier is like when it comes to like playing your game, your turns might be taking longer going forward because people are trying to fundamentally order their cards the right way. And then, like you were saying, 2 new cards that are going to be adjusted to activate are Hellcow and Black Swan.
Wait, you didn't say Zabu?
Well, Zabu is like going to be activated, but it's not officially confirmed. Whereas like Hellcow and Black Swan, they said be on the lookout for a coming soon patch for Black Swan and Hell Cow, which could be this next patch or maybe the one in October.
Yeah, they said they weren't certain about the exact timing and they'd get back and they would figure that out. But actually, so Zabu originally was surmised because they hinted at Zabu being a card they want to touch in the future when they had different mechanics to work with. But Glenn recently posted earlier today that apparently 1/2 Zabu, like, which is where they were putting it. Like, again, that's like cheap card. Maybe they're going to make it more expensive. But a 1/2 Zabu with an active ability was still too strong, apparently.
Too strong in the current meta where we have other cards that are too strong. It's kind of weird, but I just.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm maybe Zabu's going to get that activate treatment, maybe, but we don't have any the fact that they said that they already tried it at least at one point and it didn't work is very interesting to me because I feel like it'd have to be a 1-cost card to work, right? Because then you could activate it on turn 2, and then it would be able to make the cards cost less later on. I feel like that's where it would have to exist. I don't know. Because
activate, I feel like, is a single turn function opposed to ongoing. So I think Zabu, you would kind of want to play later in the game opposed to in the very beginning. So I'm wondering why they did it as a 1-cost instead of.
Well, still to play, I think the 4-cost cards on turn 3.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I think playing 4-cost on 3 doesn't seem too bad. I think, like you're saying, if it's activate for the rest of the game, that's really, really too OP. But
I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be something else. But then, yeah, Hell Cow and Black Swan are both getting added to that group. Does Black Swan work the same? Does Black Swan just have the same stat line? I don't think Hell Cow can, but does Black Swan?
What if you make Black Swan 2/3 again? And that way you can actually use it better with bounce, because it's just like you're playing Beast instead of Black Swan really right now, especially like so you can actually.
Well,
get
3/5 is the premium bounce stat line. Did you not know that?
Gosh, premium bounce stat line. No.
That's just what I heard. Sorry, that's just what I heard. I have no idea.
No.
I don't know.
No.
No, I don't. It could easily be a 2/3 as well. I don't know. I honestly could see it either place. I feel like there's just a lot of options. The fact that there's not going to be an on reveal really is going to make that great. I just don't know where it's going to have to sit though in actuality. I'm excited to actually see. I think she'd be useful for once inside of the Thanos lists. I don't know. When she was being discussed, it was like because of the Thanos. But very rarely are you really holding that many and then still playing her on turn.
Yeah, and also at the same time when Black Swan came out, that was in the point where Thanos was going crazy, and then they changed Mind Stone into a 2-cost, and that really I think had a negative impact on Black Swan in that list specifically. But it would be interesting to see like going forward if they do something like that with Black Swan, like what stat, cool.
But again, we're only talking about these 3 cards, but there are I think 3 more activate cards this season alone, along with a couple other abilities, right?
Yep, there are 3 other cards. Do you want to go with them in order?
Yeah. What's the season pass card? Let's hit that one first.
So the season pass card is going to be our good old friend Symbiote Spider-Man. If I can get it to appear on screen, it's just freaking laggy. Oh my goodness.
We believe in Tucker.
And the ads. All right. So the first activate card we have is going to be Symbiote Spider-Man, which is merge your lowest cost card here with this. Copy its text just like it revealed.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Because we were talking about this. Apparently, it was confirmed inside of the Team Answers. I didn't see this one, but apparently, copying the text of some of the cards like Negasonic or Black Knight won't work as if it just occurred. But I thought they did. I'm very confused about that bit. Because if that wasn't the case, I felt like that was going to be the place where I wanted to exist. I wanted it to be using those like once per game effects in a completely different way.
Yeah, I think their main focus was they wanted this to be for just like on reveal cards. So like you do it maybe if you want to go crazy, you do it on like a Black Panther, and you get a huge Black Panther into Zola kind of thing. Major copium, or actually just major power, who knows? But it's gonna be really interesting to see how all this, what it does in the meta and stuff. I'm very excited to test this card out and just be able to have an activate card the first week of the season instead of the next one doesn't come out to the 3rd week of the season. So it's really cool that we actually do get to mess with it just a little bit before the other cards come out.
Yeah, and again, questioning when exactly Black Swan and Hell Cow occur. That'll be a whole thing we have to figure out. But Yeah, that's gonna be. I'm super stoked about Symbiote Spider-Man. I think it's gonna be a really interesting card.
Mm-hmm.
I've got. It feels like there's just a lot of options here. I do not know of the. When I look at this card, I can't think of the best deck that I want to put this card in, and I kind of love that.
Yes,
I think that's
promotes
really
the deck
interesting.
building. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, much more so than the most recent card that we've had. I don't know, Peasant Hulkling. Really not an emperor in my personal opinion. It's not good. Not good.
No.
I know we'll talk about him later. I just don't like him.
No, it's like it's one of those feels bad. Like it was data mined as a 5 cost, like originally before we got the legit data mine. Like, or it wasn't data mine. It was originally a 5 cost before it was data mined as a 6 cost. And as a 5 cost, it made more sense to kind of have some of these abilities. You're like, okay, I actually do want to play this card. But now it's like I would just rather play a staple 6 card I can play normally and know what it's going to be every single game instead of getting infinite, you know?
Yeah, no, it's, I don't know. The weekend missions, I think you and I both just did them earlier today. I think we even used the same deck for it. And God, just trying to actually use the card and then sitting there looking at like, well, got a really great looking Giganto here.
It's just a feels bad moment, like 100%.
Just, I don't know. Again, yeah, there's some good high rolls. It just never feels like the high roll. Even the best cards, it's strange. I don't feel like the best cards are worth how bad the worst cards are. If that makes sense. I feel like I said that right. I don't know.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I just don't think it's worth the upside. But I don't know. I guess we talked about it now. But it's Symbiote Spider-Man. I'm excited about. I think it's going to create a lot of very interesting deck building, and I'm excited to see how this card is going to enter the meta. It's at a 4 cost as well, which is going to be an interesting stat line. I feel like they're doing even without Zabu coming back, they're doing a good job of the 4 costs continuing to be interesting. Like Gwenpool is a card that I still see. New Atum, we'll talk about later, but like all these cards are actually like, oh, I can use just the 4 cost slot again. I don't know. There's some more of them that people are having to refigure out how to use.
And it's like you don't have to ramp it out kind of feeling. Like it doesn't feel like I need to ramp this out to be able to set out the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It can play it on curve and we're okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's really cool stuff. But that's the first one. And then this is the season pass card. The first one coming out, I believe, same day is Silver Sable, right? Silver Sable, it's a fun. This card.
As one of the best ability, like one of animations I've seen in the game. Easily one of the best animations.
I haven't seen the animation for this. So I'll have to look at that later.
But good.
Yeah, this is going to be an insane card. This card I think is just going to be the best card. Potentially this season. I'm going to throw that out there. Best card this season, maybe? It feels like it's such a good card.
Yeah, she's going to be good. Do you think Glazer was in chat earlier, and Glazer said he only thinks Sable's going to be good in bounce. And I think you can get higher stats with Sable in bounce, but I think she adds some really solid value at just the 1-drop slot to get a guaranteed 1/3. And if they play the card, then she's a 1/5, because if you look at the downside of other cards when they get to 1/3, it is Blade, you have to discard your rightmost card, and 0, you have to make your next card have no ability.
Yeah, the other one as well is, I guess, Selene, technically.
Oh, then, yeah, Selene at a 1/2.
Well, Selene's a 1/2.
Yeah.
I don't know. The fact that this card exists at such a great stat line when Selene also exists doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. This is going to be an insane card.
Make Selene better. Rework Selene again, you know?
Selene needed some love. I said it last Yap. I stand by it. I wish Selene had gotten some love.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's a different thing. What's the next card, Chuck? What's the next one?
The next one we have is Aranya.
Aranya. And that's how say it again to make sure how people say it correct. We'll just say this.
Aranya.
There you go. Merry Christmas. You know how. I feel like it's a card that I've not heard anyone say correctly. And was it? I'm really excited for Arena. So what's Arena going to be doing here?
So Aranya is an activate. Get the next card you play +2 power and move it to the right.
This card's going to be... This is one of the cards that I think is going to really make Move a very busted archetype. Move is going to be insane. I don't know. I saw a comment about some of the new card combos in relation about how OP it was going to be, and I was like, this is going to be insane. Okay.
Yeah, and this actually is not the second card that's releasing. It is the third card that is releasing this season.
Yeah, true. It is the third card because you could season pass and the Silver Saber.
Well, no, and if you're talking about it that way, it's the fourth card releasing. The second card releasing is Madam Web. But we jumped around a little bit, but we'll go back to
okay.
to Madam
God,
Web.
I'm so confused. All right, yes.
Yeah.
So this card comes out after Madam Web. We'll talk about Madam Web.
Yes.
Madam Web's going to be insane as well, but I think Aranya is going to be really cool. I think, again, it's just one of the easiest things that I like about this card. It does work against Iron Fist, and it's as simple as that, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love this. As well as it's the +2 power. I don't know. This is so many things about this card feel really great.
Yeah, I'm excited to try her into Phoenix Force as well. I think some people are thinking about taking Nico out for it. I think I might actually keep Nico in Phoenix Force. I might honestly use this instead of Ghost Spider into Phoenix Force. Because you can also use this with the Nimrods as well. So, like, if you have a Rania on the board, let's say you Shuri Nimrod, but, like, you can still play the Nimrod, but if you activate a Rania first, it'll get the Shuri, and then it'll move over as well, I believe.
Yeah. And so, one of the things that was commented, if Aranya is destroyed, but, like, if you've activated her on your turn, but your opponent has priority, and your opponent plays, like, a Killmonger or something like that destroys Aranya, the activate, you'll just be skipped. It does not still happen like an on-reveal ability for a card that is then destroyed. So this card would be destroyed at that point, and the activate ability would not work. So I wonder how much difficulty there's going to be in actually playing this card early.
Yeah, I wonder. I think it depends on how dominant, like Killmonger and stuff is still in the meta, because like we are still seeing an abundance of Killmonger. There's a lot of Destroy going around with all the Clog. There's still Surfer that's incredibly prevalent. So I think, like you said, do you tempo this out? Do you wait for you have your combo set up? And you can't bounce it to reactivate. Like you said earlier, you can only activate once a game. So it's going to be interesting to see how this card works. She was originally down to mine as a 2/1, but I do like her more at a 1/1 in this slot.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I'm okay with it, especially with the previous card, but next one we'll talk about. I think I like the curve that they have here. But yeah, what is our next one here?
So the next one we have is Madam Web, and yes, Aranya will be good with Kitty as well.
Yeah, Elsa is the card I really want to play with her, I think, actually.
But the next card we have is Madam Web. It is an ongoing. You can move one of your other cards here away from here each turn. Each turn, you can move a card away from here.
So this may just be me. Why isn't this why is this an ongoing? I don't get it personally. Like the more I've looked at this card, why is this an ongoing and not akin to why is this an ongoing ability and then not, I don't know, a card like Kraven even? Am I crazy for that? Or Kingpin or not Kingpin, Hercules. Like Hercules and this both kind of seem like they are exact same in the way that they work, because again, it's each turn. But it isn't. This one is different, and again, whatever. Like they'll probably justify it later on. There's gonna be a question, they'll answer it. I don't know, but it really feels like this one shouldn't be ongoing. This is like, again, some people were talking about how Blob shouldn't have the ongoing, but should have as an innate stat. I think it makes sense for Blob to have the ongoing still, or for it to be an ongoing ability and not just an innate ability. I'm fine with that. This one makes less sense with what the precedent that we have with move cards.
I think that's a good point. But I think it's kind of falls more in line with kind of like Wong is an ongoing because your abilities happen twice kind of thing. Maybe it's because they didn't want it to be a flat text, so the only way you could, remove it would have been just like you would have to Red Guardian or Lady Deathstrike it. I think maybe they're doing it in such a way they want it to be able to be rogued. They want it to be able to be Enchantress. Maybe they're doing it in that sort of way, opposed to just like a flat text. Because the interactions are maybe different, or maybe the coding in the game, it's easier to do it as an ongoing than like a Hercules kind of situation, since you have more control of it. Whereas like Hercules, you don't necessarily know where the cards are going to be launched again unless you have like a full board slate. So that's probably why ongoing is like the limiter there, opposed to just like a flat text kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It's still just weird to me.
It's card's gonna be good though.
I mean, the cards gonna be great. Like, I'm talking about the stuff I didn't like for a second at first, but like in actuality, I think this card's gonna be an amazing one. I think this card is gonna be really good. This card, I think, comboed with Aranya, is gonna do some insane things next season.
Yep, not just because they were in the movie together. But yes, I think
there's a movie.
Yeah,
a movie. Was there like an Aranya movie that I didn't know about?
No, the Madam Web movie.
Oh yeah, that was a movie.
Yeah. So, but to go back off on like the Madam Web stuff, like think of how much like New York kind of like help like in a game you never know what they're going to be moving to New York. Of course, that is more than just one card that can move to this location. But I think being able to move a card from this every single turn is really solid because your opponent has to kind of predict what card is moving, how you're doing it kind of thing. So that's what I like about this card is like the whole like strategy aspect of it. Yeah. Like you're not just using it in move. I think you can use it with like Elsa and Kitty and like Hope Summers and everything too to kind of go away. But like, yeah, it's going to be really, really fun.
That is the exact list I'm most excited, I think, to try. The Elsa, Kitty, like Hope Summers stuff with Madam Web and Aranya. I feel like I haven't seen a good Shuri list with them in a hot second, and I feel like this actually like you have to live with the extra card in that lane, but then it completely cleans up that lane for the rest of the game as well. So it's gonna be great there. Again, even in just classic move, right? You put Madam Web in the left lane, just so that the Heimdall, whenever you do it, is going to again push everything back over there because I feel like that's a very difficult thing for a lot of moves decks.
Yeah, and I think Shuri's gonna be fun.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like again the way that Cloak works, way that New York and such works, when you move a card over here, I think that would count as its move for the Jeff, for the Nocturne, for the Quicksilver. Like those, I believe, will count as still the move when you move it into or away from Madam Web's lane. I want to say.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense too, because like it's not like, oh, you moved here because you could move just once from this location. You actually moved as well because you had the ability to. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that'll be
great spot.
And then there's one last. What is it? Yeah, it's Solid Spotlight Week. We can talk about this in a bit. But there's one last card that I don't really care about personally. I don't know if anyone does like this card. I don't know if anyone out there who enjoys this card. I don't know. I thought you did because I DM'd you. And I was like, hey, Tucker, I think you're a fan of Scarlet Spider, and I wanted us to get matching blue hoodies that we could both cut the sleeves off and then wear for the week of his Yap. And let me just look at our DM. Yeah, no response there. No response there. No, he never responded about that. Just instead was apparently talking about his wife or something like that. I don't know. So it was, I don't know. I guess there's not really any fans of this card, this character. I don't know. Ben Riley is a really cool character. The Activate. I'll say it as I know I'm apparently the only true fan of Scarlet Spider out there. A 4/5 Activate, add an exact clone of this to another location. And the exact clone is going to work similarly to the Mr. Sinister clones. So it's not going to have the text of it. But it's a really cool animation. I don't know. There's so much cool stuff about this card. I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. You can tell by my shirt that I'm even wearing. But Tucker, as a One Piece guy, what do you think of this card?
I am very excited for this card. I think I love Scarlet Spider. It's my favorite Spider-Man. I actually named one of my dogs after Ben Riley's Scarlet Spider. But this is going to be really, really cool. I think Dance has been a huge fan of the hand buff deck a couple seasons ago, like with Gwenpool and everything. And I think Scarlet Spider with some Gwenpool, maybe even some Fastos, some Symbiote Spider-Man stuff. It's going to be really solid. Of course, Symbiote Spider-Man does not allow you to do the Activate again because it's a once per turn kind of thing they were talking about.
Or once per game, yeah.
Or once per game, yeah. Once per game kind of thing. But I'm very excited for this. The variants are so good. I'm so glad my boy's finally getting added to the game. Another unknown, your opponent doesn't necessarily know where the Scarlet Spider is going to go. It'll be a 50-50 of the other two lanes unless one is full because it goes to another location. But this is a really cool feature to kind of either maybe do some Cerebro 5 or maybe just have some extra cards in other spots. It's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, Cerebro 5 I didn't think about. I actually really like that shout. But this is going to be a great card in general. I mean, what you have... It's going to work great with this card. I feel like works better with almost every single other card that releases this season, even more so than the season pass card. Like I know this season, a cool little thing of this current season is that it allows like all the cards have kind of been able to work together. Kate with Marvel Boy, with Wiccan, with Speed, with like they even meant for like all those cards to be able to work together there. Again, Hulkling was released this season, whatever. This card, I feel like, works amazingly with every single card coming out next season. Imagine this with the Symbiote Spider-Man, with the Ranya, with what is it? Like there's maybe Silver Sable doesn't, whatever. Still, it's just a great card.
Yep, you're just gonna be buffing this. You're gonna be having these card, like, I don't know. It's gonna be exciting to just see this card in action. But I think, like you said, like it's another thing that can give you some Mockingbird value too, because it's a new card, some Patriot value if you guys are still paying Sandman, which I really hope you guys aren't. But you could do some Sandman things also with this too. Like there's just all sorts of functionality, some lockdown things if you want to do it with some Storm stuff. Like it's just gonna be really solid. Super solid.
Honestly, I'm gonna want to play like that Gwenpool, but I'm gonna throw like Zabu in that list because of this card. Wanting to be able to put all those 4 drops down is gonna be really interesting.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You Gwenpool out on 3 maybe to buff your Scarlet Spider, and then you have your Symbiote Spider-Man, and then it's just freaking big spiders everywhere, right?
Yeah, because you could put the Symbiote Spider-Man down on turn 4, then you play Scarlet Spider. Again, the perfect line, right? You somehow have what is it? America Chavez turn 1 and Scarlet Spider's top card of your deck. You then go into a turn, a turn 2 Zabu or Psylocke. Turn 3, you play Gwenpool. It hits Scarlet Spider, obviously, every single time. So you then, by that point, logically, would have a 4/13, super casual. You then play your Symbiote Spider-Man on the board. Then you play Scarlet Spider the next turn, perform the activate immediately following, so it turns that card into a 4/19. Then, just wait. Oh no, it gets better. Just wait. Then you know what you do following? You play Forge. What's it called? You play Forge. You play Grandmaster. You then play. No, you can't do Grandmaster. No, you do Forge into Hulkbuster. Then you activate Scarlet Spider. A very casual 442 power. So obviously, card's gonna be busted. Right? Like that could work. Or I guess no, never mind. You put Shuri there on turn 4 instead of Symbiote Spider-Man.
Yep.
Card's insane. Busted. You're welcome.
I'm totally here for all of that.
Yeah, no, the card's gonna be stoked. I'm super stoked about this card. It's gonna be absolutely great. I don't know. In general, I'm very stoked about the season because again, it has so much. It has more move cards, which I think is interesting. I'm down for move getting a buff. It's consistently the dark horse of Snap because, in my personal opinion, Second Dinner doesn't want move to be good. If with my own tinfoil hat, I'm gonna say they don't want move to be good because if move is too good, it requires too much brain power. And they don't. And again, people play this game when just sitting on the toilet, and that's it. Like that's the whole thing they do. They don't sweat this like some content creators who try to play and get all the way up to like rank 600 on the stream or something like that. This card, oh yeah, Aranya would be more consistent than Chavez. I'm so sorry. This card is going to do insane stuff, and Move is going to be doing insane things, and I'm really wondering how much brain power you're going to have to use for these, and if Second Ender is going to nerf them because it requires too much brain power. That's my logic.
I really hope they don't, because if you think these require a lot of brain power, the cards also coming out next season, like the following season, require brain power, and like it feels like the game is getting like definitely smarter and smarter. Maybe players aren't trying to be as smart because they're still playing Airship, but it's definitely gonna be a lot of very fun. I'm like, this feels like rejuvenating in a way because we're getting a brand new, archetype and everything. So like, I'm just excited to see how it works, and I'm interested to see when we go through our Yap next week what the play rate is for activate cards opposed to just the flat text cards or like on reveal kind of things,
Yeah. I think it's gonna be really interesting stuff. Was it before we go to the OTA section? I was just gonna say because there were some questions that I had seen in chat, right? Again, well, this probably won't be in the video. Sorry. Maybe I don't know. Tucker's editing it, but I do think that it's. I question the interactions between Hercules and Madam Web in particular. Really make me pause. How does that? I don't know. That really feels weird to me. I don't know if that's going to be something messed up.
In what way?
But there is. Well, because right, if you move for Nocturne, for example, with into a Hercules lane, she changes the location she gets moved to after Hercules twice, not Hercules' lane. If I'm not mistaken. That's from when I last did stuff with her.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like that would have been I feel like that was really an interesting thing, and that was the thing I was most questioning about that as well. But yeah, there's going to be, I don't know, I feel like there's just going to be a lot more thinking in the upcoming season.
Yeah, like the whole like, do I activate now? Do I activate after this card? Do I activate before here? There's gonna be a lot. Like the turn by turn ratio, or like length is gonna be really all over the place. Especially if you see like an activate card on the board, it's gonna be like no fast forward either. I hope we don't get just fast forward during activate, because I feel like that would just kind of take things away. Because I mean, the fast forward in this game is really weird. Some things get fast forward and other things don't.
I hope they just need to fix fast forward.
Yeah.
They just do. That's a problem.
So
I think, yeah, GNR, I like that. Activate will be a great opportunity for skill expression. I think that is that's the best way to describe it, and I could not agree with that anymore.
Yeah, I like it. Red Guardian play rate is going to jump through the roof as well with Activate. I do agree, especially with priority. Like the fight for priority is still going to be all over the place. Clog, I agree, is going to be everywhere. They haven't done anything to adjust Clog, which is okay. But do we want to move on over to the OTA?
Let's break down this OTA. I've got a list of it next to me. Do you want me to read these out?
Yes. Going into the OTA, what are we starting with over here?
I mean, the first card, before we even talk about the individual, I don't know. I do not like this OTA, and I think that the vast majority of the player base agrees. However, I'm going to say this before we really dive into these. I am going to try to defend Second Dinner, and I'm going to try to understand the reasoning behind this. Devil's advocate. And I want to say it's not even the devil's advocate, because I feel like there is so much hate towards Second Dinner with this, and I get it. And Tuck, I know doesn't like it, and Tuck, and I'm fine with that. I feel like I want to be a differing voice there, because even though I'm personally not a fan of a lot of these changes, and I don't get them, and why some cards were changed and not changed, I want to try to be something akin to closer of trying to logic it and trying to make sense of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm the bad guy for that, but I'm just trying to get the change. I want to understand it. I don't know.
Do we want to start simple then?
I'm gonna go in the order they gave it to us.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with the one that I think I haven't heard anyone who hates this change. Atuma. Atuma went from it's still 410, and after each turn, it destroyed itself if there was another card there. But now it destroys one of your cards here with less power. It's a random one, whichever one actually occurs. This is the coolest change, I think, in this OTA. I remember when I read because again, OTAs are getting leaked. We'll talk about that later. When I read the leak, this was the only thing that convinced me that it was real, because this was smart, and I hadn't heard any comment about, because again, all the comments just said, in terms of buffing things, you make Atuma cheaper, you give more power, whatever. This was the smartest change and felt like a Second Dinner branded change akin to the way they buff Crossbones and other cards in the past, that I was like, this feels like it's actually real, and I love this change.
Yeah, this change was, we know Clog is going crazy right now, and it is super dominant.
True.
Let's add a card that can help you handle Clog, and maybe actually breathe life into another card. I think it was a great change. I like that it stayed at a 410. I bet they do adjust this from a 410 and drop its power a little bit. I could just see that happening, but I do like this change. I do like this change.
I feel like it's, I feel like it's making another 4-slot competitive again, because again, 4s have been struggling so much without Zabu. I really feel like this makes 4-cost cards just better in general, because it is such a better card with that change. I don't know. I love it personally. Yeah,
I think this is a great change, and I think he's very fun. And until the fun police come out, we stand for Atuma.
Exactly. Speaking of fun police. All right. I mean, we're just gonna hit the big hammer here, big nail in the head. Let's talk about Loki. Loki went from a 3/5 on reveal. Replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck, and you gave all those cards -1 cost, and then you drew a card on top of that. Now it's a 2/2 that only gives the negative cost. It removes the draw card. I want to let you start this. I want to let you start this conversation, because I know how you feel about this, and I think your opinion that you're going to state is reflective of the general player base. I want to hear this.
So I've been thinking about this a lot, And the Loki change, they were basing it on the stat line at a 3/5, so it's a nerf to his power and you don't get the draw. I think the main issue I had with Loki was Loki in Airsham. And I think this does not really address the Loki into Airsham issue. And you're able to play out Loki earlier to be able to get some better value with Airsham. You're able to play your opponent's deck with extra power, or with extra energy, and they cost less. You're able to do this super early. I think this was definitely more of a nerf to standard Loki decks, like more of a Wiccan Loki and stuff like that too, because you're not getting the draw in that sense, and you're still relying on having to do other things before the Loki situation. I feel like in most instances you were playing Loki out later in the game, so you definitely do hurt playing this not on curve, like Frostman was saying earlier over here in stream. But I feel like this was still more of a side adjustment to Loki instead of like a deliberate attack onto the main issue, which was Airsham.
Yeah. I don't know. So I just don't like new Loki in general, and I don't think this new ability fixes, or like the new ability, new cost, whatever. I don't think it fixes my personal problems with it. The logic behind this, I think, is again the fact that from what they've said, apparently the Airsham lists in general they are just barely average. They're like apparently a 50% win rate, 0.1% cube rate. I get that that may be true according to their metrics. I think Airsham is unfun to play against.
Yes.
It doesn't feel beneficial there. So I also watched a bunch of content creator videos just talking about the OTAs because I wanted to understand as many different changes as possible. Like whenever they looked at the leaks or whatever, I was trying to figure this out and trying to like even understand how I felt about it, because I flip-flopped. I beat the new Loki. I beat turn 1 Loki that Airsham can now do. So at the same time, I'm thinking it's not as bad, but it's still, I don't know. In an Airsham list, I feel like you now get a lot less value for what you're trying to do. Because if you do go for the turn 1 Loki, you don't get the extra power. Like again, a 3/5 was not premium, but it was a very competitive stat line, I think, beforehand. Now at a 2/2, I feel like it's worse stat line for an Airsham deck to be putting inside of there. So maybe it works there, maybe not. I don't know. In general, I feel like this change doesn't fix the problems that the majority of the meta, including myself, feel like needed to get fixed. And this is, I think, the core of why this OTA has been extremely disliked.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my whole thing.
I was looking at the stats too when it goes from Loki prior to the OTA to Loki post OTA. Loki prior to the OTA in most instances had a 53 to a 54% win rate. Post OTA, and that was through non-infinite, infinite top, infinite, and then infinite top 50%, infinite top 10%, was at most a 54% win rate. Now post OTA, Loki is a 52% win rate. So the win rate went down 2%. The popularity went down more dramatically for like a 4 to 5%, but the Loki change for the win rate did not really decrease a lot. It's just the power, I think, is what maybe gave it that extra 2%, but what Loki does, I still think is really good. But it just still felt like even like the cube rate wasn't even too dramatic of a difference when I was looking at it either. Yeah,
I don't know. Part of me wants to say that it's been, again, so we typically record this on the Monday before this uploads.
Yeah.
We're recording this on the Saturday, so I want to say, part of me wants to say like, oh, it's because we don't have enough data, we don't have enough time on it, so maybe in a week or maybe a long time we'll see a different change here. Maybe it'll actually make sense. I don't know. I feel like I don't like this card. Beforehand, I don't like it now. I wish it would get more of a change. I wish this wasn't where they ended up with the card. And I feel like I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
I get it. I want better. I don't think this ruins the entire OTA. I think this is very technically on the most minor scale, akin to honestly how Mockingbird was changed. Very tiny nerf. much more of a side grade.
Yeah, I think it's more of a side grade, and I think the biggest thing is that we are just beating around the bush on what Airisham does and how Airisham is performing. I think adding the 3 cards is what happened last time, and it reduced your chances by 2% to draw your cards. But I think there's just a bigger Airisham change that needs to be had, and every single card that has helped Airisham has gotten affected, opposed to Airisham getting affected. And I feel like that is the main thing that we keep seeing over and over and over again, which is what we saw with Thanos until they restructured and remodeled Thanos.
Yeah, I think Airisham should have been hit. I get that Airisham again is the win rate. It's a fine. It's an average win rate. It's not even great, according to Second Dinner. I don't have any reason to disbelieve them. I just don't. It's not fun. It's just not fun. I don't feel like I'm playing Marvel Snap anymore. I get that it's a cool new card, and it was interesting, and a lot of people were told to get it because, again, cool card. Airisham isn't. I just don't think Arisham's interesting. And then Loki turns that Airisham thing into a mirror match, and mirror matches aren't interesting either.
Yeah.
I don't. I get Airisham is technically okay. If he's technically okay, I'd rather them do, again, akin to a side grade for him, where he gets some sort of change where it's going to be that where he may be technically better, but you hurt other stuff. Again, I've said it I said it last Yap. I'll say it again. I'd like to see what happened if he just didn't get your card or didn't get copies of the cards that started in his own deck. I don't even know about Loki. I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, over it.
Yeah.
Just fix this, please. I don't have a good answer.
We're not
anymore.
game developers. We're just players, and it's just a feels bad playing against. And I just hope the next OTA, maybe they give some more fruit or new life to a lot of these older cards like they did with Atuma, so it can kind of overshadow like what's happening with this OTA, because it feel like if they had maybe more just great changes and brought more new life to cards, I feel like we would have a little bit less complaining.
Yeah. Much more so than a lot of the other changes that actually did occur, which just felt like, and people feel it. I disagree, and we'll hit those cards. We'll hit the reasoning when we get there. But I feel like a lot more people think that the upcoming, like some of the nerfs that were done, were to make it so Second Dinner could sell more cards, or because they wanted to do that stuff. And that is, my opinion, what people legitimately believe. We'll talk about that in a second. I feel like I feel like they should have waited on those. Personally, we'll hit those. Let's just talk about the next card in the OTA stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm skipping ahead because the next card was actually immediately undone because there was it required a visual effects update, and they realized that they didn't want it to be confusing for other players. So Copycat, I could have sworn that it said it went back to stealing.
That's what they did say that.
Okay. So we were told. So what this card originally said, steal. When you draw this, steal the text from the bottom card of your opponent's deck. They changed it in the OTA to say copy, but now, but then they said that there was a bug. If I'm mistaken, let me find
There's currently a visual FX where Copycat still applies the no ability text. As if she's still under the card, we'll be issuing a reversion to Copycat's previous functionality from Thursday's OTA earlier next week, until we can correctly align the VFX. So it's not just yet.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. We'll see it then. Apparently you still get the little exclamation point if you draw the copycatted card, which might create confusion with other players who aren't like actively looking through stuff, and they just trust the big thing saying this doesn't work anymore. So I get why I get that's a problem. I don't know. I don't mind this change though. I think Copycat's still an insane card. And again, I actually really like the fact that they did this change rather than the nerfing her stats. Yeah. Again, I think it just points to Second Dinner. Loki ignoring. I feel like it points to Second Dinner doing a better job of rebalancing cards in OTAs than just hitting a stat in a way that is something that I feel like a lot of the community typically thinks of.
Yeah, no, I think this was a genuinely healthy change from like what the card was doing and everything too. I of course feel bad as a mill player running this with Copycat because it does affect those kind of lists, but like for the general health of the game, I think this was a good change for the card for what it was doing and everything at the premium stat line as well at the 3/5.
Yeah, and I get it. There's going to be people are going to the biggest thing is as well with this card is like, okay, well now you're going to nerf every single new card as soon as it comes out. They try their best, and I believe that they do consistently try their best. And when they shoot too low, they try to fix it. When they shoot too high, they try to fix it.
Yep.
This was too good at first, and the way Second Dinner does their balancing is they will update cards very frequently. They will update cards very often in order to make sure that they can get better. I think they're doing a good job of that, and you just have to understand when you're buying these cards, and it sucks. But when you buy a card in Marvel Snap, it is not guaranteed to stay the exact same. That could be a bad thing, or it can be a good thing if you decide to get Kang. He's gonna get fixed eventually. Copium, I swear. Please.
No, they put him in an album. He's never gonna get fixed.
No, he's gonna get fixed. Don't say that to me. Don't say that to me. It's fine. But nerfs that there were 2 nerfs in this OTA that just Beast was changed from a 2/2 to a 3/5. The reasoning they said for this is bounce. They said, well, it's true the bounce decks have been very strong lately. That's only part of why we're making this update. We have some upcoming new cards and changes to existing ones that will impact Beast's strength, and we've determined the most appropriate solution was to return to Big Beast and then move it back up to the curve at a 3 cost. You start this one again.
So, like, we just got a great point in chat, too. Sandman got a -1 power nerf. Beast gets an entire cost, like, increased. His power, of course, went up, but yeah, okay. So it's the inverse of Loki, literally inverse of Loki. But it's like, are they just trying to get everyone and their mother to buy Toxin in October? Is that what it is? We're just trying to get Toxin? Or is it, like we were talking earlier, if you're good at the game and Bounce is a really high skill capped deck list, we want to make it so you have to think even harder, and we want it to be a more of a fair experience. We want to be more of a fair experience for everyone. We want it to be easy. We don't want the top players to be able to do whatever they want. We want them to think harder, and we want them to literally just stress themselves out trying to do freaking 3 cost Beast on curve now or something. You know, like,
yeah. So, for what it's worth, the biggest thing they said is, so I don't think Bounce is a problem. I don't think Beast was a big problem there. And I'm going to disagree with the note that it's because of Toxin. And I know that's what the community says. I know it's what you're saying. I disagree with that. I personally think it's because of how good Silver Sable is inside of that list. That is my personal belief. Because they said this is the reason why they talked about this change as well as the upcoming nerf that we're going to talk about is this is the last OTA before some new cards get released, and they wanted to make it so that meta does not occur where those cards are a broken combination. Toxin is coming out in 2 months.
Yeah.
I think that if there was a problem with Toxin, they would fix it in 2 months. The same way that they changed Loki a week before Kate Bishop came out. Because they didn't if they wanted to change it for an upcoming card, quote unquote, they would have been done a month or 2 in advance. They haven't done that in the past. I don't think they're going to do it again here. I think that Beast is changed because of some of the move bounce combinations that are going to be so insanely good.
Yeah, like the Black Swan.
I do agree it's premature. Yeah, I think it's premature. I wish it wasn't a thing. But I really, at the very minimum, I'm going to say, if you want to say that you disbelieve Second Dinner when they say that they are talking about, when they say it's because of a card that is going to be happening before the next OTA occurs, that means Toxin's not a problem. That's not the reason why Toxin was changed. Definitively. Unless you want to say Second Dinner is lying about the reasons, in which case, then why the hell do we read any of the patch notes? It's just get the changes and figure it out. That's my personal belief there. So it sucks. I hate it. I just don't like the argument that they did this because card in 2 months because they said they didn't.
Okay.
I don't know. That's my logic still.
Yeah. Just we're gonna pour one out for Beast though.
God, I haven't played New Beast at all, but I do hope it's. I should. I want to see if it still feels good or not. I haven't seen its stats. I don't know. Maybe he's doing fine. I just still don't like it. Do you remember? He used to be a 3/4 who let your cards cost 1 less for the rest of the game.
Yep.
I Bounce, I feel like it's in a similar place to what I talked about with Move earlier. I feel like Bounce makes people's brains think too much.
Yep.
And they don't like it.
Too much thinking. We don't like it.
That's legitimately what my logic is.
Yep.
But then there was one other nerf. Taskmaster's a 6/0. I don't. Dude, Hulkling was already dead, and then you put this card as an option for him?
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason, like, the second that this card came out, Hulkling was dead to me. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hulkling sucks.
Yep. They're afraid of Shuri Kitty. You know, they think Mr. Negative is too good. You hit the combo of Mr. Negative so consistently that also you got to think about it. At like some of these pre-infinite some of these pre-infinite gamers too, like, or people playing Sauron Shuri, they did not like the idea of you being able to play Taskmaster and Ebony Maw on turn 6. That was just way too OP.
They said it's a similar thing. Apparently, Taskmaster has been quietly also been doing like a deck restriction thing. Also, by the way, Mr. Negative is a 0-6 stat line. It's insane. What are you talking about? Anyway, but legitimately, they said that the concerns around this stuff was like so substantial that they wanted to try to stop this before it ever occurred in the meta.
Oh my god.
My logic is, here's the thing I saw online, and it was the reason why they changed it. They said, was it turn 1 Aranya, Ravonna inside of the list, or maybe Ravonna didn't even need to be there. Maybe it was just Madam Web, Mystique on turn 3. Again, that's 1, 2, 3. Turn 4, you go, was it Dagger plus someone? I feel like it was Dagger and Hercules, maybe? I don't remember. It was Dagger, Hercules, maybe it was Human Torch and Hercules. You do that, you move Human Torch once into the Hercules lane, which immediately knocks him out of there because of the ongoing stuff you have going on. Then is that turn 5 or turn 6?
That was turn 4 you were on.
That was only turn 4? No, wait, no. I'm at the next turn 5 you would move. You'd move him. Then I feel like I'm still missing something else. I don't know.
It was just Human Torch was going to get so big for Taskmaster. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. In the long run, again, I think that this change, it sucks to have something hit in advance. Mm-hmm. But Second Dinner always balances cards in advance. That's literally what their whole thing is. They've done that for a while, and they will continue to do that.
Yep.
Don't like it. It's the way that the balance exists, and it does allow a consistently Arishem, obviously with outstanding. It allows for typically a consistently shifting metagame, which is interesting and really cool about Marvel Snap. I just feel like with the Beast and Taskmaster stuff, I would have rather them waited 2 weeks. Again, they're gonna do it. I would have rather them wait for 2 weeks to let us have the broken combo, so that the general community can be like, oh, okay, maybe you were right. Maybe this is too good, and then they fix it, rather than this situation.
Is the patch on Tuesday this week? Or when the next patch?
The last patch, I don't think it's gonna be on Tuesday. No, because we had a patch on last Tuesday. Because that was the whole change with where we found out all like the card stuff, like all the new card finishes and backgrounds and such.
Okay, that was this past Tuesday, or was that the Tuesday prior?
The 20th.
The 20th? Okay, so
August.
it's 2 weeks ago. So the next one won't be till like the middle of September.
Yeah, based on the logic, we will have, just looking again, assuming that they're going to stick with the same consistent schedule, the next OTA will be the 12th of September.
Okay.
And then the one on the following Tuesday of that week, the 17th, will be the patch according to that consistency slot.
Okay,
whatever.
No patches or OTA this week. We'll have an OTA week after this week, and then a patch the following week. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, I have to assume it's bad enough that Second Dinner is correct there. That this stuff is so rough. Doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan of it, but if they're seeing something that's gonna break the game more, then like Arishem, we'll see what happens, right? I definitely was a little defeated there, I'll be honest. I wanted to see something else. But the next card that got a buff is our good boy Cannonball! Woohoo! Yeah!
The card card, what is it? Card, it was bad. It's still not great card. After the Professor X change, they just buffed it back up. They said they were probably going to do that if it wasn't a problem. I don't think they ever needed to bring it down. It went back up.
Oh my goodness, this is just like, what?
I will say the biggest. I want to. Second Dinner, it did legitimately confirm, and we don't have it confirmed for if they do it for bundles, but they did say sometimes they will sit on changes that they're going to make it with an OTA until the card is going to be out inside of a cache. They said they did that for Cannonball, and I get communities can hate that. It looks like you hate that. I'm just saying that makes sense. Why would you buff a card that isn't available for people, and then people are going to be like, well, we can't use this new card that you're going to be buffing for us? Thanks, Second Dinner, you jerk. Like, they typically try to let people know about the buffs when it's easier for people to get those cards via Spotlight keys. With Hydra Bob, they gave it like it was only like a 2-hour warning, I guess, technically, but still, they're trying. But they did say, legitimately, they buffed him now rather than earlier and or later because he is available for the community to get.
I mean, that's like it's strategic marketing, so like that's fair on their end. I just wish it was Nimrod.
Well, Nimrod got buffed via the next card. He is getting. I think Nimrod got buffed via Atuma and Destroyer.
I think Destroy just got buffed. Like Destroy was already in an okay spot, but now it's definitely. This is better. Like this actually feels good. Like I like this change a lot.
Yeah, 614 now. Destroy your cards at other locations.
Yeah, and I think this feels good, like you're saying. Like you're using it in the Nimrod list now. Nimrod was already in Spotlights. They want to sell that card more, so they gave Nimrod an extra card. This is even really super solid into like the big baddies list. But like. It does get interesting. They took away 2 power to make it so it only affects 2 lanes, which for that change is kind of solid.
Yeah,
like,
I really don't know how I feel about the new Destroyer. I haven't played it enough. How have you felt about this?
It definitely is like Galactus without the location destruction. This is It's just feeling good. I've been playing a lot of like Phoenix Force, and so like I've been playing it with like Nimrods and everything too. So being able to target lanes. Stop talking
about the last video. You do this every single yap. This is an intervention. You need to stop. You need to stop promoting your new video, the last video, over on the YouTube channel you're currently watching this on, or if you're here live, go to his YouTube channel. But you need to stop talking about the very last video. You talked about Surfer last week before during that yap, and that was the previous video. Now you're going to talk about how good this Nimrod Destroyer list is. If only there was some convenient place where I could see how good this Nimrod Destroyer Phoenix Force list is. That was a previous video, potentially on the channel where I'm watching this. Come on, Tucker.
I know.
It's obvious. It's more obvious than Second Dinner buffing the cards inside of this Spotlight cap. It's bad.
But I do like the new Destroyer chains holistically. I haven't tested it all too much, but I think this could be interesting just to use in some of these other lists. I honestly, what I like more is I like that this also helps some earlier pool gameplay. So if you're still trying to do some of those like Warpath kind of things, and since people aren't playing Professor X anymore. Like someone said over here, you just play armor now. You don't have to play Professor X and armor and then do Destroyer things. Like it helps you kind of in that situation a lot, which I like.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think I really like this change. I think it's really interesting. It's, again, just one of those changes where, and I feel like I'm staying low-key withstanding. At this point, it's obliged. It's intended. I feel like it's one of those changes where I feel like Second Dinner does such a good job of a lot of their changes, a lot of their buffs. It really feels like it's incredibly, and it's just such an interesting change where it's going to be a cool little side grade. It doesn't kill the card, doesn't make it really that much better, but at the same time, it just kind of like gives you a whole new way to look at it, and I kind of love that.
Yeah, I think this, honestly, too, I like this more for some of the Limbo games with Destroyer and stuff, too. Yeah. So you can have some better options for some Zola things. But I like this. You can't Nimrod the same lane as Destroyer, so you play off of it. But I think with also all of the like Goliath that's around right now, I like having some other flexibility in that sense.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, most instances I still would probably play like, Venom and Carnage over Destroyer on like my later turn play. But that's another topic. But I think that's the entirety of the OTA.
I do want to say before we just call that subject good, the leaks. I want to say the leaks, just again, it isn't it's particularly thought about one part of this OTA. It sucks that that leaks are occurring so much with this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what is exactly occurring. And because I'm outside the content creator program, Tucker doesn't have to confirm or deny any of this stuff. The stuff I heard from other content creators the day of is that they were not receiving any advanced notes. I heard that from multiple content creators. I heard that on, I'm not going to mention every single name. I did hear that. And they said that they were not receiving the notes in advance because Second Dinner was trying to figure out what the leaker was doing. And then with that in mind, apparently someone data mined in the game and they found the leak, or they found what the OTA was going to be. It was sent inside of a creator area, and then everyone got it. I don't know what was occurring, and that is just what I've heard, so put that as you will. But I want to say, that sucks. That really sucks that there are some bad apples out there potentially ruining it for everyone. Again, Tucker, please don't confirm or deny anything you don't want to, because again, Tucker is in this program. Tucker knows this stuff much more than I am. I am not. I don't know anything here. I am just saying what I have heard. And in my personal opinion, what I've heard is that this sucks. This means that content creators lose a source of revenue because it's out there already. They don't get to make their new video when they put out a new video as soon as stuff goes on. They don't get there's a lack of trust now between content creators and Second Dinner because there is a bad apple out there that is just putting out releasing the information that they are legally against, that could get sued into the ground for. It just sucks.
Yeah, it's a feels bad. I definitely wish the leaks weren't occurring, even though OTA videos and patch videos normally are the lowest performing videos for content creators. It does stink, that you can't really prep some other things in advance with all these leaks happening. There's a lack of trust right now between the content creators and between Second Dinner right now, and some of it's one person messes up and then the rest of everyone takes the fire for it. And so it does hurt because I try and prep content around it and everything too. And so with a leak and stuff, I'm sleeping, I wake up, it's 6 a.m. and a leak's already happened, and then it's okay, well, I mean, I was gonna do something on this, but now it's too late because everyone knows.
Yeah no, so. It just, and also it's sometimes because of NDAs and such, from what I've seen from other content creators, sometimes y'all can't even say anything if a leak comes out, and you can't look. You literally just be like, yeah, there's a leak out. Not gonna talk about it. Legally can't, which just, I get it. I'm under NDA and stuff as well, and I don't. And if leaks occur, you don't talk about them. You don't. That's not something you do. It just is a situation that I want to say before we, if I wrap up about thoughts on the OTA I was not a fan of. I'm especially just not a fan of, it feels like people getting screwed over in just simply releasing this information. I don't like it.
Yeah, I wish there was maybe a different way to have a lock on this, but this leak was not from content creators, and that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. But we are about to move over to our final topic of the Yap for today. We're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite move cards, right?
You and I both have a different, I don't know how similar our lists are, but this is just in general, what cards we really like in the move that either they can move, they're good in the move. It's just, you have a lot of different options in there in terms of just what cards are your favorite ones that move. I'm going to be honest with you, even though when you do the search for ability thing and it gives you Cyclops, I will not be putting him inside of this list due to the fact, even though his no ability, his flavor text says let's move X-Men, I did not include Cyclops in my list. I do not know if you did though, as I know you're a big high Evo guy.
I did not include Cyclops in my list.
Okay. At least we have a baseline there.
All right.
You want me to start? Or you want to go first, Tuck? What do you think of here?
You can start.
Okay. I'm gonna say favorite move card right now, and you're just, and again, not reading right now because again, can include future cards in this upcoming season. I think Dagger.
Dagger, okay.
Dagger, I think she's number 5 in my list of in the list. So she is such a useful card. The fact that you get so much stuff with what is it? Especially in like our clog meta as well right now. There's so many different situations where Dagger does so much ramping, and I think out of the 3 cards that we have that move really, like that get benefits from moving, I guess Multiple Man's in there as well. But if I was talking about Vulture, Human Torch, Multiple Man, and then Dagger I think is best in that list personally.
Okay.
I don't know. I like her a lot,
especially in the clog meta. I like what you're saying with Dagger. She's got a lot of potential. She's a solid card. Definitely solid.
Yeah. She is very solid. But I mean, who's your number 5 in your list?
Number 5. Oh, I thought you said you're going from favorite. Okay.
Oh, sorry. No, that was my least favorite. That was number 5 out of my top 5s right there. So that was
number 5 for me is my good friend Meek. Meek is my number 5, baby. We're very avid discard enjoyers, and this card is gonna get even better when Scorn comes out. We all believe in Meek. We are huge Meek enjoyers. In Meek we trust. Love me some Meek, brother.
And this is your number 5, not your number 1?
Not my number 1.
For 1, didn't expect that. I thought this was going to be your number 1. For 2, yeah, he moves.
He
I didn't think about. This card was not on my radar in terms of move. I should have been. I'm not surprised the second you said that. But this is a solid card. I feel like Meek was very much slept on at first. They changed him a little bit. And you moved him around. Meek is a fun card. Meek is very interesting. I think. Would I say that he was in my top 5? No, I wouldn't think of him as a move card. So he probably would be. I don't know. He'd probably be down there. If you talk about my top 5 discard cards, maybe a different conversation for later on. Meek may enter that list, but didn't expect this card, and so that's fair enough. You've got me there.
Yep. All right.
Hit me with your number 4. I need something better from you than Meek. I need your number 4 here.
All right. My number 4 card is good old Magneto.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, Magneto's a really good card. Why is he your number 4? Why isn't he higher or lower in this list?
Because when it comes to other cards, I feel like in this list, I'm thinking of what more consistently can kind of win me the game. This can win you the game because like raw stats and stuff, but there's also situations where it just loses you the game depending on what happens. And of course, I think this is a skill card. I think in a way. I think some people just throw Magneto down and think they're just going to win, but like you really have to think around what else is going to be moving here if they play a card here and accounting for that. But I really enjoy this card. It's number 4 for me.
Yeah, no, Magneto does a lot. Magneto does so much inside of for move. Like I feel like if we talk about like one of the like cards that are consistently well balanced, I do think Magneto has consistently fit that list. Where I don't ever think he's been too good. Or too too bad eventually based off of like where the meta is. He's just like a consistently good card. I think that is a great baseline for how the meta should exist. But my number 4 is a card you won't be able to search because I got Aranya here.
Okay.
I have Aranya as my number 4. I think Aranya is going to completely change the way that you can even use move. The fact that you can do it later on. It doesn't have to be done immediately. It doesn't have, and it gives +2 power as well. It's such a good. It's also in the 1 cost slot, which is such a competitive slot. This card I think is going to be insane. I like this card a whole lot, and I feel like this is going to be one of my personal favorites as time goes on. And I just think she's going to be really good. She's maybe up there a little bit higher for you in this list here, but I really like her. I think she's a lot of fun.
So I didn't know we weren't using cards that were unreleased yet, so I didn't have Aranya on my list, but I would have her on my list. I
definitely said that, but that's fair.
I would have Aranya on my list as well. I think that she's a very solid shout, and she's very flexible, not just in like a regular move list. You can use her in a lot of other stuff as well. And then what is your next card?
My next one is, and again, I'm sorry, I know you apparently forgot about the not using the future cards. I got Madam Web here.
Madam Web, okay.
I think Madam Web is, again, she's my number 3 right now. I think if I'm talking about, again, the best move cards currently, I think she is going to be, what is it? Even not currently, but whatever, like in future movement cards. She is going to be one of the most useful movement cards. The fact that it's, again, as much as I don't really understand the ongoing, hopefully we get that explained. I think Madam Web is going to be insane. I think she's going to do so much for move and is really going to change a whole lot. One of the reasons I really like her, the fact that you can Mystique her.
Mistaking the ongoing ability, I like that.
Yeah, I just think that Madam Web's got so much stuff going for her.
Okay, that's a solid shout, and that is your number 3.
That is my number 3, correct? Yeah, okay. I do feel slightly guilty that you did not have any of the new cards in your list. I apologize. I feel if you had would Aranya and or Madam Web, if you want to make a last second change, I think you can.
Aranya would have been my number 2, and I would have moved this card down. But this is my current number 3.
Okay, got it.
So I'm thinking,
Juggernaut. Okay,
because he can legitimately like win you a game or win you a lane because you're moving off a card because you either have you have the power to win that lane by itself, or it's just another thing to alter what your opponents are trying to do when it comes to their combo. And I love this variant, of course. That's a sidebar, but Juggernaut's definitely going to be my number 3.
Fantasy variants always hit. They're so good. I feel like, Juggernaut is such an insane... Is this fantasy or is this future?
It's fantasy.
39? Okay. I feel like Juggernaut's just a great card. Yeah. There was a period of time, and I feel like he still somewhat is, where it just became people realized, oh wait, you can just play Juggernaut inside of a lane where our opponent's currently losing and guarantee they can't win in that lane. Juggernaut's a great call. I wish. Maybe we'll talk about honorable mentions later on. I wish I'd mentioned more of the cards that are like move your opponent's cards, because I really didn't. I don't know. For myself, I didn't use those as much because they aren't my personal favorites, but they are extremely good. Juggernaut just being able to clear out a lane, especially considering he's the only card that moves unrevealed cards.
Yep.
He is very good. I'll get definitely gonna agree on that one. You want to do number 2? You want me to?
I'll do my number 2.
Okay.
My number 2 is going to be Werewolf by Night.
I love Werewolf by Night. There's no way he would make my top 5. You need to explain yourself.
So I just think of the ping-ponging around with Werewolf by Night, having to dictate how big or where Werewolf is going to end, I think is really solid. Even though we are in kind of a clog meta right now, I think this card is in still a decently flexible spot. And I think you really can get this card pretty big. Bounce, even though with the Beast got changed, I think this is going to be really solid with Silver Sable. I think it's going to be really solid even with like Toxin and stuff. So like I don't know. I just think this card is kind of still underutilized right now. I'd say it has so much potential to just win you games, and your opponent will just think about where Werewolf's going that they don't think about the other stuff you're going to play as well. So I just like the different tempo you can actually do with Werewolf.
Yeah, I think I really like Werewolf by Night as well. I think the reason why I didn't put him in here is because of the same thing I talked about before with like move and bounce, is because again, he's the combo of move and bounce. He is that. I think move and bounce are already extremely brain testing. Werewolf by Night is even more brain intensive. The amount of times I have to like look at what I'm playing, like, okay, I have to do this. Okay, leave this slot because he needs like I mess that up so often. So maybe that's why I didn't put him in here. And I feel like it's such an easy card to mess up, but he is he's a great card. I will definitely give you that. I don't think that is a fair thing, or I don't think it's unfair at all to say that he is an insane movement card and can get to massive stats. I also buffed him in a OTA, not one before last, I want to say, right?
Yeah, 3-1 to 3-2.
It's insane now. Remember when he was, what was he? Like a 4-4?
4-4, and it was just cry.
He is dead, completely dead. Took the wolf behind the shed and old Yellard. But my number two is Ghost Spider.
Okay.
Ghost Spider, she was released at a 2-3 originally, which I'm so glad that she's now 1-2. She's such a good card. It's so insane, and I think one of the reasons I like her, and it's because I feel like as I'm talked about these movement, like my top 5 move cards,
Mm-hmm.
the later ones, I feel you can use inside of more and more lists. I think Madam Web's gonna be insane inside a lot of lists. Aranya too, and Ghost Spider is just such a great card in so many different lists to be able to clear a lane where you just played a card. It's so good. And fun fact, it doesn't lag your game as badly as Grapple Arrow, and it's such a great time. I think she's solid. I really like her. Fire variants as well. Chat said, yeah. I think it's just completely. I think she's just a great card.
Yeah, she's a fantastic card and a good shout at number 2. Are you? Do you have an honorable mention before you do number 1?
I want to say, yeah. If I had an, I will say, because again, you especially talked about like some of the cards that mess with your opponent's stuff. This one doesn't still, but I really like it. The fact Hydra Bob is a card I did consider putting in here, and I know it's a bit of a meme, but at the same time, the movement that he gives, what is it? And even if it, I think he's best when you don't move. He does so much for you then, and I really feel like it is absolutely insane. I also considered Vision and Captain Marvel, because Vision is just like anywhere on the board. You just put the 5/8 down, and you don't know where Vision's going, and it's so dang good. And so I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of really good move cards that I didn't include here. I don't know. Do you have any other honorable mentions? Again, let's maybe some other data mine cards that weren't talked about.
Yeah, I got my honorable mention is Scream. It's more
Scream
of
is
a,
so fair.
it's more of like, it's not it doesn't move any cards, but it goes along
It's a move
with
card. Yeah,
move.
yeah.
This is definitely my honorable mention right here. This card is going to be very fun when it comes out in October. You kind of build decks around this. You get some Polaris value, you get some Arrow value. If they do try and do some Jeff, or they try and do some Nocturne things, you can get some cool screen value. The animation looks awesome too. You sent me the animation earlier. So this would be my honorable mention. And then do you want to go ahead and your number 1?
You want me to do it?
Your number 1.
You want me to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
My number 1 is a card that got nerfed, and I still love it. I love Nocturne. I think there are people who don't, and I get it. Nocturne is just such a good card. She is such be able to reach into different locations. Like Jeff's been kind of edged out. I don't know if you're running Jeff. I didn't even mention Jeff in my tops anymore, because the fact that Professor X no longer restricts movement. I don't think Jeff has gone down in like the popularity and or like goodness. I don't know, strength. So much so, and I think that's because of cards like Nocturne and other cards that just use the movement, I think, in a much more effective way.
Yeah, no, I
love Nocturne.
Solid. Even though she's not 3/5 anymore, even at the 3/4, she still feels pretty good. So I think that's a good shout for number 1.
Yeah, and I also think one of the other reasons is, even though she isn't used maybe as much in move lists, she is in my personal opinion, the most useful movement card.
Utility-wise and everything, yeah.
Like I don't feel like there is a list where you are using Nocturne and you have to be like, well, you're missing pieces here. No, she's a good tool. She's an insanely good tool.
I like it. I like that number 1.
But who's your top dog? No, sorry, not dog. Werewolf is there. But who's your number 1?
My number 1 is going to be Phoenix Force.
That's so fair. Yeah, I didn't talk about Phoenix Force.
So Phoenix Force is number 1. There are very few cards in the game that if you snap into turn 1 or turn 2 after you destroy a card, your opponent immediately retreats. And Phoenix Force is one of those lists that strikes fear into so many people that you either play Phoenix Force and they leave, or you've destroyed a multiple man and you've snapped into a Phoenix Force that people just retreat for 2. And I think it's kind of like the Mr. Negative with Jane kind of situation. This is absolutely tremendous. Being able to mix destroy and move. I actually played a lot of move before I started like streaming ever, and like that was one of my favorite things. And when I started streaming, I played a lot of destroy, and this is something I've kind of caught on really late. But it is probably one of my favorite archetypes to play right now. So another reason why it's number 1 for me, but I think the cube equity you can get with this list, it just kind of helps set the precedent.
Yeah, no, Phoenix Force is an insane list. I think you're right there. I think Phoenix Force is the only list that when my opponent just destroys a multiple man, I can look at my cards and look at what I have left in my deck, like, I don't know. I don't think I can beat that. And that's it. Like you just know it's going to be insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Phoenix Force is so good with that. So I feel like I definitely am like, yeah, I think this card definitely strikes a lot of fear into people. And is this so top card because of that? Is it like, what do you like about the Phoenix Force deck as a whole? What it unlocks there?
I think like the coolest thing is as this deck has evolved, I think as people have made it either you're just destroying your move cards or you have just some of these alternate lines. Some people just go the straight Human Torch route and they do a Living Tribunal kind of situation because you have a huge Human Torch flying around. You could just go deeper into Destroy. You do the Shuri Nimrods kind of things. It's going to make use of Aranya when Aranya comes out and maybe even some Madam Web things. I mean, Madam Web, it would be doing stuff like that, but it can kind of help with your clog. But I just really like how it's gotten a large variety of things. There was the Taskmaster iteration, which now is kind of dead. With the change of Taskmaster, there was the Deadpool stuff that like Jeet was running. Like it just feels like this list continues to evolve, and it's one of the most like badass like abilities or like because Phoenix Force is entities, one of the most like badass entities like in Marvel when it comes to like the Phoenix Force. Like
they did such a great job with Dark Phoenix and X-Men, the other X-Men movie. Man, just Phoenix Force was such a great character in both of those. God, it was so really cool. No. The art in this game is more than made up for that, in my opinion. It's just so Phoenix Force is so insane. It's just such a cool looking card. It's such a cool ability. I definitely think if you're gonna talk about your favorite movement card, this is a great shout. I didn't include this in my list, and I love the fact that we did not have any of the same top 5. Mm-hmm. Maybe because you didn't know that I said the future move cards, but still, this is really. I love the fact that we have such different favorites in terms of the move stuff. There's a lot of really cool things here.
A lot of different takes, but they were solid takes.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? I mean, that's where, comment section. What's your favorite move card? Was there a card that we definitely didn't say? Was there a card that we should have said? The card you disagree on our opinion or the ranking of it? That's where you let us know below.
But yeah, where can all of these lovely people find you, Dance?
It's just not my dance on Twitter, on YouTube. I definitely upload stuff there, and on Twitch, it's just that. But if you guys don't follow Tucker, we're on his channel. What are you doing? You hit that little subscribe button. When you hit the like button on it too, it goes all like fiery too, just like the Phoenix. Definitely, don't question it. Actually, I think it does like Jubilee effects now. It does like little like sparkle.
Just the little fireworks.
Yeah, you guys want to see the fireworks? You guys want to see all those sparkling effects? You gotta go like the video. You gotta comment. You gotta subscribe. Give Tucker the interaction this man needs, because we didn't mention it. You're moving, and I think when this goes up, you will be either like driving across the country or like maybe just now settling into your new home. Best of luck with that. I apologize for not talking about that beforehand. But you're insane. I'm excited for what you got going on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dance. Until the next time, my friends, please definitely follow Dance. Next Yap, we'll be breaking down the new season, what we're hoping for the new OTA on that coming Thursday. But yeah, we love you guys. Until the next one, laters.
Did we do a salute at the same time right there?
We did. That was actually that was
like, oh my gosh, we're so in sync. We're so in sync. We're back. Backstreet's back. All right.
Backstreet's back. All right.